Fresh. We present to you local and international newspaper headlines for the day with in-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome back from the sports studio. We're back right now in the morning Crossfire studio, and it's time for us to take a look through the front pages of the papers this morning. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Welcome if you're just joining us. You missed out on 1.5 hours of the show because we start off at 6, but we are here with another 1.5 hours, and for the next 30 minutes thereabout,
right,
we'll be looking at the front of the pages to see the stories making it there after the holidays. Welcome back. We have joining us on the show, Rotimi, Sankore. Rotimi, good morning.
Morning.
And people, we're live on Facebook. You can also watch us live on YouTube. We're streaming on our website, nigeriainfo.fm. You can reach us on all of those platforms, including on Twitter at nigeriainfo.fm. Let's kick start with The Guardian. The Guardian is a media partner on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Police, DHQ, deny alleged arrests over Taraba killings. There are 2 riders here. Why slain officers cannot be buried now, by Mba. Incident poses serious threats to national security. You find this making the banner on The Guardian. The story is also here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Taraba police killings latest. Army captain had 191 phone chats with wanted kidnapper. Wow. And there are 3 riders here. Army arms dealer sings, I sold 6 AK-47 to Wadume at 800,000 naira each. Police accused of giving army false report arrested. Rifles of slain policemen are with the soldiers. That's coming from the villagers. The story is also here on the front page of The Nation. Inside story, Wadume's property seized as accounts placed under probe. Another New Telegraph. I supplied kidnap kingpin Wadume AK-47 rifles, says gun runner.
From this day newspaper, accept responsibility for killing our personnel. Police tell army. Front page this day newspaper. That's all we've got for you from that paper today. Rotimi.
Well, it looks as if there may be some corrupt soldiers in play. If the statements from the police are to be believed, not looking good. Now, these are the real threats to security.
Yeah.
Not people carrying placards or people calling press conferences to criticize the government. Honestly, how this is going to end, nobody knows. I fear that more of this may happen. The idea that soldiers, Navy and Air Force can be brought into roles which normally should be police, civil policing, roles or tasks, means essentially that the armed forces will be exposed to all kinds of influences.
Right.
It's almost
which is quite dangerous.
Yes, very, very dangerous with the amount of firepower that they have.
This is pretty alarming. I saw a report yesterday by Chidi Odinkalu on his Twitter handle saying, and this was worrisome to me, that this kidnapped kingpin, Madume, was a candidate, a governorship candidate, I believe, one of the youngest person to run, and he's 35 years old. He put up his photo and say he was a contestant during the 2019 elections.
Wow.
Well,
that's right there. I mean, just put.
No, but this is not news. It is shocking, but not news. Remember that there was a police officer in the National Assembly who got entangled with some of his former bosses over all kinds of allegations, and then the police ended up by accusing him of being absent without leave. That, they say he didn't resign properly before contesting for National Assembly, and that they were going to arrest him for absconding because he questioned the police as a member of the National Assembly. I mean, that was extremely hilarious.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that former police officer at a certain time said something which is not funny. He said when he got to the National Assembly, he saw so many people that the police had been investigating as his colleagues that he became confused.
Reality check.
The picture shared by Aldin Kalu here, I mean, I'm just looking at it here. This is the campaign banner by Honorable Alhaji Hamisu Bala. He ran for Taraba State governorship, unsuccessful, under the Young Democratic Party. He ran for the member of the Taraba State House of Assembly representing Ibi constituency, but he did not win. That means he had some political clout too.
Well, corruption and politics, that mixture is not new historically or even globally.
Right.
Neither is law enforcement and corruption. I mean, that mixture is not new. It is always the extent of the corruption that is the issue. Is the corruption so much that it undermines law enforcement as a whole? There will always be a few corrupt police officers, but the point is, how big, how important, how many are they in this case?
Right.
Now, the police as a whole is now pointing fingers at soldiers. So that same question applies. How many corrupt soldiers are involved in this particular escapade? Never mind in the entire army. Because if you go to the northeast, a lot of people were complaining there that the involvement of soldiers in civil policing, that is setting up roadblocks and all kinds of things, checkpoints, has led to drivers being harassed,
even clashes with the police,
and over jurisdiction. You are stepping into my territory.
Right.
So I really fear, unless the police is equipped to do their work properly through better quality of recruits, better training, better equipment, more quality numbers, sufficient numbers, and the armed forces are pushed back to what they should be doing, which is to defend the country from external enemies. I fear that these clashes are going to continue.
Quickly, let's move on. And this is a big story. It featured in our chit chat this morning. Buhari directs CBN to stop forex for food imports. Front page, This Day newspaper. The writer.
It was a big buzz on our chit chat today. You guys should join chit chat from 6 to 7. It was a big buzz today.
It was. That's from This Day newspaper. Similar headline from Daily Independent, banner headline: Why I stopped forex for food importation. Buhari says the Minister of Agri will be an expert in this sector. Daily Independent from Daily Trust. Buhari to CBN: Stop giving forex to food. For food, President hosts SGF Omagege 10 APC governors in Dura. From Daily Sun, FG moves against food importation. Rider directs CBN to stop forex to importers.
We have this also making it to the front page of the Punch newspaper. Ministers will get targets. Experts will man agric, says Buhari on the front page of the Punch. And it's also here on the Vanguard. Why we stopped forex for food imports, according to Buhari. It's also here on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Banner headline: No more forex for food import. Buhari tells CBN Nigeria has achieved food security. More push for agriculture. Here's a quote. It says, we have achieved food security, and for physical security, we are not doing badly. Don't give a cent to anybody to import food into the country. Rotimi.
Hey.
First question is, can the president direct the CBN to do this?
Well, let's even set aside the constitutionality.
Which is an important thing, because
It's
I
quite
felt
important.
it was a Salah mood thing, you know.
Let's set aside the constitutionality of this matter. The CBN is supposed to be independent to start with.
So the president cannot direct this.
Well, I mean, he shouldn't be giving the CBN arbitrary directives. Because who advised him on this?
It's quite emotional.
There is no cabinet.
Do you understand? It's quite emotional.
This felt to me
Somebody
like
was just
someone who
feeling
had
like, see plenty ram, see plenty rice.
See meat, seafood. Nigerians are okay.
Well, look, the whole country knows that Aso Rock is self-sufficient in food.
Well, they should be, shouldn't they now?
I'm not sure that extends to the rest of the country. So it is important to always look at the global picture. So let us first establish there is no country in the world that does not import food. No country. I mean, Google is your friend. I routinely look at budgets of country because budget is a statement of priority.
And with that, you can know what's
Yes,
going
budget
on.
is a statement of your public policy priority. So if you look at the budget of any country in the world, you will see that they import food.
Right.
So no country in the world is 100% food sufficient. No country in the world is 100%. And I'm saying, as somebody who has lived in developed country, traveled around the world, worked in different countries, you enter supermarket routinely now, and you will see food that is imported.
Right.
You know, in any country in the world. So the president is seriously mistaken in that area.
But he hasn't totally banned importation of food. No. He has just said we need our foreign reserves, forex, for something else, more important things.
Excuse me.
And not for food.
What is more important than food?
Petroleum, say.
Okay,
which is top on the list of our imports.
Maybe infrastructure.
Please, guys, let's get back to more serious. So, first of all,
did you just say more serious?
Food sufficiency is based on production of sufficient quantities. Sufficient quantities of all types of food. That means grains, fruit and veg, meat, and so forth. Is Nigeria self-sufficient in all those areas? No.
But the president said that we are.
Food production is based on sufficient storage capacity of all those types of food.
And this is where electricity comes in.
Even electricity aside, what of silo? You don't necessarily need electricity for silos of grains. Can Nigeria store enough food now? No. Nigeria does not have more than 1 or 2 weeks supply of food.
But the president seems to believe that
in storage. Just hold on, Wemimo.
So we can move on to other storage.
Just hold on. There are 3 important points. Nigeria does not have more than 1 or 2 weeks of food in storage capacity. All developed countries have 2 to 3 months of food storage capacity in case everything goes wrong. We don't have more than 1 or 2 weeks, and I'm talking not at retail level, at wholesale level. Because even at retail level, the fact that most people don't have light means that you can't store food for more than a few days.
Right.
Then most importantly, even if you have production and storage, everything then depends on distribution. And we do not have the capacity to distribute even the little that we produce.
Could this be a push to make this happen? That's some of the arguments put forward by
you don't jump off the cliff without a parachute now.
Let's stop it there. Obaseki is my brother. We are not fighting, says Oshomole on the front page of the Punch. Says they are brothers. Also here on the front page of the Vanguard, Obaseki is my brother. Rift was created by people for selfish interest, says Oshomole. Interesting headline.
I read in one paper that Oshomole was blaming the media for the rift.
It was in our news this morning.
And I was thinking to myself, I
From
hope
his voice.
I hope he doesn't blame the media for the reconciliation.
Well,
You know? Yeah, I mean, look, when you start blaming the media for your own action, then it means that you may not be sure what you. I mean, how can the media push you as the national chair of the ruling party to quarrel with somebody or reconcile with the person? Oshomole should take responsibility for his actions.
he said they are not even fighting. There's no quarrel.
Again,
Maybe there's nothing to settle.
When I heard his voice this morning, I was like, this is the same thing as the ban on forex, because this is in the spirit of Idil Kabir, because he said
Making peace.
he said it when
Look,
Obaseki went
on this food thing, to the extent that popular
You're
culture.
going
we
back
have to
there.
go
No,
back to the
no, guys, this is very serious.
Yes,
It is.
To
It
the extent,
is.
to the
No
extent
doubt.
that popular culture is a reflection of what is happening in society. That song that announces itself by screaming "Hunger Dale" is going to become the most popular song in the country this year.
If this happens.
Oh,
Let's see our next story. El
Right.
Sasaki lands in India, begins treatment on the front page of the Punch. Also in the Vanguard newspaper, India's Shiite to foot El Sasaki's medical bill. El Sasaki begins treatment in India. The Nation, The Guardian, Shiites allege government frustrating El Sasaki's treatment in India.
And from Daily Independent, FG frustrating treatment of Ezekzaki in India, Shiites allege.
I don't know the details of that one, but seeing that the treatment has been frustrated right from the beginning, I wouldn't put it beyond some bureaucrats to go and do over Sabidia by not, putting down some necessary paperwork. I mean, we'll look at it and try and figure out exactly what that allegation means, but I wouldn't put it past Nigerian bureaucrats with their over-sabi. I mean, a court gave an order and the state government wanted to add its own extrajudicial conditions.
It was very hilarious.
On
I
top
thought
of
it was
it.
very funny. I thought it was very funny.
People think that they are in the playground where you can seize your ball if they score against your side and say you are not playing
I
again.
don't-
That's very funny. Okay, let's quickly move on. Northern Coalition faults Tinubu's politics. Daily Sun front page. Ryder accuses APC leader of misleading Buhari. Northern Coalition faults Tinubu's politics, accuses APC leader of misleading Buhari. Front page, Daily Sun newspaper this morning.
Well,
Any comments?
I don't know whether it is.
What's funny?
I mean, this idea that somebody is accusing somebody of misleading the
I
president.
Sincerely.
I think the president should speak for himself as to
Yeah.
whether he's being misled.
And mention the
So-
names of the persons misleading.
so
him,
that we
maybe.
know exactly who to blame.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ebola. Front page of The Guardian. NCAA writes, airlines over Ebola outbreak urges vigilance and compliance. Front page of The Nation also, new drugs to make Ebola treatable. On the front page of The Punch, Ebola resurgence. Be vigilant. NCAA warns airlines. The stories across many papers. today.
That's very irresponsible. You can't blame the airlines for the spread of Ebola. It is the health authorities that should put up sufficient checks at the airports.
Right.
There are many African countries that if you go to, South Africa being one of them, where it is a permanent feature, the X-ray device that measures temperature. As you are walking towards immigration, your whole body scan. They are looking at it
Yeah.
to see the temperature fluctuation. If one part of it turns red, you are directed to one side.
And is this not what NCAA should be pushing for, rather than speaking to the airlines?
We should have the thing at all airports and all land borders. They are pushing it to airlines. Airlines are neither equipped, neither do they have the responsibility to stop the spread of diseases.
This is big, guys. Watch out. Be on alert. Wash your hands as often as possible.
The problem hasn't come. They are passing the buck already.
Already.
Well.
Anyways, let's move on. Sanwo-Olu nominate Ibokwe,
The problem
12
has
others.
not returned.
Sanwo-Olu nominates Ibokwe, 12 others as commissioners, SAs. That's the front page headline from Daily Independent this morning. In our news, it was reported that, APC in the state are commending Sanwo-Olu for appreciating the support of party men by nominating them in his cabinet.
Well, I'm not sure that the appreciation of party men is always in the interest of the citizens of the state. So I hope the party men that are so appreciated are competent at whatever they've been nominated for. However, we should point out that as far as he's competent, and we hope he will prove to be competent, that the nomination somewhat reflects the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos in terms of ethnic diversity.
Right.
It's probably not diverse enough. But Lagos has a track record. I mean, there are people who have been governors in other states that started as commissioners
here in
Lagos.
Right.
There are people who are still going to run for governor in other states that I know of, at least two.
Right.
That are not, in quote, indigenes and were commissioners in Lagos. So it's a good sign that Lagos is reflecting its cosmopolitan nature, but honestly that diversity should be stepped up to include competent people of more competent people of other ethnicities, more competent people of other genders than men, because it is impossible for Lagos to be governed properly and successfully with a very tiny number of women.
Let's read some comments
in the cabinet
from Facebook as a wrap up. Ifeanyi Prince Buzo says we're watching here from Indonesia, Jakarta. Thank you for joining. Ayo Basi says good morning to you too, and also Nwachuku Nicholas is here. Dr. Amanambu Uche he's got a comment for almost all the headlines, so I'll just speak one of them. It says, I will appoint experts as agric minister, says Buhari. This is reassuring if it happens. It is an indication of the heart of Mr. President. However, if an expert is appointed in agriculture and it is not replicated in security, works, petroleum and finance, it may amount to nothing. This is because if farmers are daily butchered in their farms, nobody would dare go to the farm. If transportation becomes horrible, the farm produce would not be sold, thereby elongating poverty and waste. Let's move on and read another comment from Friday Emmanuel says, good morning, Nigeria Info. Good job. Thank you, Friday. Adibe Cyprian is also here, says, I love Nigeria Info. Thank you all for loving us. We love you too. That is on the front pages right now. When we come back, we're talking about autism and care for special children on the show today. Rotimi Sankore would also be here with us again just after the break. So make sure to join us just in some minutes after this timeout. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.